pleasure to introduce Angy Hannon. Angy received her BA degree in psychology from Florida International University. Since 2019, she has been studying in the Counseling and Art Therapy program here at Ursuline College. She completed her clinical work at the Art Therapy Studio, Stella's Dream, and Hopewell. Her particular area of interest is in working with the Latinx population. Outside of her academic work, Angy is involved in the Julia de Burgos Cultural Arts Center, connecting with other Latinx artists. She also enjoys traveling and experiencing new cultures. The title of her presentation today is Envisioning the Future of Art Therapy in Latin America, Imagery and Experiences of Latin American Art Therapists. Let's all welcome Angy Hannon.
All right, lunch is after this, so. All right. My name is Angelica Maria Hanon Gutierrez. I am very passionate about this topic because I am Latina. I'm originally from Nicaragua and moved to the US when I was young. I was curious about the field of art therapy in Latin America, what it looked like, and what other Latin American art therapists were doing. Before I get into my study, I want to take you on a little trip around Latin America. Let's stroll the streets of Nicaragua, where I'm from. Let's take a helicopter ride in Brazil. Let's take a road trip in Chile. Let's take a boat ride in Cuba. Let's go to a festival in Bolivia. Let's go to a soccer game in Colombia. Let's go to a women's rights march in Mexico. And let's take a class from a textile artisan in Peru. So let's go back to Cleveland now. All right, so like I mentioned before, I'm very interested in finding out what art therapy looks like in Latin America. In this research I conducted, the art therapy profession looks very similar to the US. Art therapists work in hospitals, prisons, community centers, and art therapists work with children and adolescents, people with schizophrenia, children with ADHD, and so on. So although there was great information in art therapy practices, there was not much on the art therapist experience in Latin America. So for my study, I explored the experiences of Latin American art therapists and how they see the future of the profession in their country. I conducted an interpretive phenomenological analysis, which was used to understand the art therapist's experience through in-depth thoughtful analysis. I used a Delphi technique, which means I gathered a consensus from a group of experts, in this case, the art therapists. So since art therapy is a new field in Latin America, I recruited participants through association websites, social media pages, and email correspondence. When recruiting for participants, I look for 3 criteria. They must be from Latin America, they must practice art therapy in Latin America, and they must be willing to talk about their experience. Once I found my participants, I asked them to create an art piece that reflected their experience and the future of art therapy in their country. All interviews were held through Zoom due to distance, of course. All right, let's meet the lovely participants. So first we have Carla. She's from Honduras. She has 1 year as an art therapist and owns a private practice and does art therapy workshop for mental health professionals. Dolores is from Chile. She has 16 years as an art therapist. She is an art therapy certification instructor and she has a private practice. Juana is from Colombia. She has 1.5 years as an art therapist and does mandala making workshops. So for the results of my study, I found a 4 common theme among the art therapist experience and how they saw the future of the profession. So the resulting themes were pioneering, advocacy through education, love for the profession, and hope for the future. So let's look at each closely. Pioneering. All participants are pioneers in the field of their respective countries. Carla showed a lot of enthusiasm and passion for her pioneer work when she said, I want to be the fundamental pillar in the union of all of this because there's no regulating body for art therapy. For her image, Carla drew a tree near a pond with oil pastels on white paper. She included the symbol Psi and a paint palette to represent art therapy. She drew 5 stars to represent Honduras in the middle of her tree. She made the branches to represent her goals, like create an art therapy business, have an International Day of the Art Therapist, which is common to have in Latin America, like have the Day of the Psychologist or the Doctor, and expand art therapy to other parts of Honduras. My second theme was advocacy through education. The art therapists all focus on advocating for the profession through education. Juana best described advocacy when she stated, "We have a challenging but very important role in re-educating and offering people the right information so that they understand that art therapy is not only for a certain niche of the population, but it can help all people, all ages, and all genders." So Juana educated participants in her mandala making workshop. Dolores advocated for art therapy during the Chilean Ministry of Health meetings by educating them on how art therapy is beneficial for mental health in Chile. Carla advocated for the profession in workshops for mental health professionals by showing them the benefits of using art therapy on trauma work. All right, the next theme is love for the profession. Juana talked about art therapy with such love. She said, "Our physical tool, the body, which are the hands, are the creators that carry the magic of being able to physically materialize everything we feel in our souls, in our hearts, feeling, thoughts, and actions. That is what art therapy is about for me," which I think is so beautiful. So for her image, Juana used color markers and white paper to create her heart. She made an image of a brain, a heart, and 2 hands on top of one another, forming a circular shape. This demonstrated all 3 are interconnected in art therapy. She included the text, "Arte terapia es integración," which means art therapy is integration. The last and final theme is hope for the future. All participants spoke about hope for the future in art therapy in their respective countries. Dolores spoke about her 16 years as an art therapist and art therapist educator. She shared that due to the pandemic, she had a personal and professional resting period, but was hopeful for what was to come. She created a mixed media image with color pastels and a face mask on cardboard. Dolores made an image of a bird resting with his leg extended, indicating movement. She depicted a bird's tail feather out of a face mask representing the pandemic. When talking about her art, she shared, "I think there are stages, like in my drawing. He's with his little legs walking, right? Like he's making roots for something." Dolores' image depicts a hopeful tomorrow for the profession and for her as an art therapist. All right, so all of the 4 themes demonstrated active growth and passion for art therapy in line with the literature. Carla worked towards uniting mental health professionals and art therapists. Juana facilitated art therapy workshops and educated participants on the importance of mental health. Dolores worked to establish art therapy as a profession in Chile, and she founded the country's first art therapy master's program. This excerpt by Ciornay and Ruiz best describes the future of art therapy when they said, "There are many undiscovered needs for the professional art therapists in Latin America, but there is as well an extremely rich environment to work in, cooperate, and grow together." So future recommendations for my study include a larger sample size of participants, art therapists of all genders, and art therapists from all Latin American countries, so there is an equal representation. Although Latin America is very similar in customs and culture, every country has unique people and cultures. So I thank my family, my friends, professors, and all the Latin American art therapist pioneers and those who have come before me and paved the way in the art therapy world. Questions? Yeah.
I want to thank you for such a visually rich image. It's just a joy to watch. And then how did this change you?
Oh. I have been very inspired by other art therapists. I think just researching art therapy in my country, in different countries, has like inspired me to maybe, hopefully one day, back to Nicaragua and become a pioneer myself. Who knows? Yeah.
Yeah, so my question. So my other question was, we often study things that are very personal and meaningful to us. And participants often feel personal meaning by being reached out to. And so that's the one thing I didn't see is, how did these art therapists feel that you reached out to them to include them in your study? What kind of reactions did they have?
Yes, they were very surprised, very happy about it. One of the art therapists actually didn't want to be anonymous, and I had to tell her that she had to. She wanted to get her name out there. So yes, they were very happy and excited. And they, were just happy that their name was getting out there in the world and art therapy is expanding. So yeah. Other questions?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment, Angie, it seems like some of the things that came up to me when I think about more expansive systems theories of understanding just human experience and experience of an art therapist across culture. I think we always are focusing on individual things, but what the things came out in this were really systems kind of thing. And so I think that's an interesting thing when we're thinking on a global level of how we expand art therapy and counseling and think about how that's impacting people. I think that's what came to me from a bigger kind of punch kind of force inside me was that this is us looking at the systems and so it's and you looked at counselors, therapists from different Latin American countries, and so that's telling me that there is more of a system level, not just these individual things that we have to focus on. So I don't know, I just thought that was something profound that came out too.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of them spoke about their country, but also Latin America as a whole, which was really beautiful. Mm-hmm. They spoke about in Latin America, we should advocate for mental health more, break the stigma. So it was just really beautiful to witness. And then having studied here and having seen where they studied and all their journey was really inspiring for me. So yeah.
It's super inspiring.
Yeah, because our therapy is not rooted deeply yet in many of those countries. I'm just curious, were they all trained in the US or were they trained in the UK, or did they talk about those experiences at all?
Yeah, so one was from Spain. One got trained in Spain, so she traveled. Another got trained in, I think, Boston. And then another was currently getting trained in Spain as well, online. So yeah, they're kind of being trained and then going back to their countries and becoming pioneers, which is really great. So yes.
Ann Picardi asks, do you know if all of the art therapists you talked to were originally from Latin America?
The participants,
yes.
I'm guessing? Okay. Actually, one of them was originally from Israel, but moved to Chile when she was young. And she was like, I'm Chilean, I feel like it runs in my blood, so consider me. And I'm like, I agree. Which is also really great because as Latin Americans, we can own our heritage, even if we're born in other countries, which I think is so beautiful. So yes.
And finally, Hannah is incredibly proud of you and thinks this is such a incredible and colorful way to give voice through creativity to other beautiful Latinx people, especially in the world of mental health. Thank you for your work. You're amazing.
Long-awaited lunch break is finally here. So we will now take 45 minutes for lunch, and when we return, Dr. Megan Seaman, Assistant Professor in the Counseling and Art Therapy Department, will lead us in a toast. So let's eat.
So we're back at 1:45, so we don't have quite 45 minutes.
Okay.
Monica also says congrats. So proud of you, Angie.
Right. We're almost.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Monica. Oh, Amber says wonderful job. Bye.